Welcome back guys, another NVM vlog, part 3 of the M2 Big Turbo, and we've got the 3.5 bar map sensor to fit. So guys, if you watched the last vlog, you'd have noticed that we tuned this vehicle with the big boost stage 3.3 turbo to 1.5 bar of boost, and the reason for that is simply the map sensor that's on the standard N55 cannot see more than 2.5 bar, which includes 1 bar of atmospheric pressure and 1.5 bar of turbo boost pressure. So the way we get around that is increase the size of the map sensor and calibrate it accordingly and increase the amount of duty cycle from the wastegate. So what we've got here is an N20 map sensor, which is rated to 3.5 bar. There is a lot of changes we need to make within the ECU to maintain control with this, but you could probably say, I mean, in terms of fitting, it is a like-for-like swap for the original map sensor that's on the charge pipe. So basically what we'll do today is get the car on the dyno, swap over the sensors, have a look through the calibration, see what we need to change. All map sensors run differently, and the voltage and scale, the gradient, the offset differs between sensors. But the good thing is we're using a BMW OEM product, so we should have all the data required to make the calibration changes so that we can increase the boost levels on this vehicle today. So let's get it on the dyno and see what we can achieve today. I don't know if you guys seen that there, but at 4,000 RPM, boost completely cut down and the car lost all power. That's purely down to the fact that I put a boost cap within the ECU. That's so that we can monitor that the scaling of the charge pipe pressure sensor and the actual pressure sensor within the intake manifold are exactly the same, and that tells us our calibration is correct. Also within kind of overboost thresholds, we ain't overboosting too much, so I targeted 1.58 bar and it hit 1.6 and cut out, so it's a nice little safety to have in there. I'll now raise that to the sensor limit and then bring up boost slowly. Again, we're standard on 99 RON fuel at the minute, and let's see what we can achieve with a bit more boost mid-range. Obviously we're limited with boost at the red line purely down to the fact knock can occur on standard 99, so let's see what we can do. So I don't know if you guys can see on the graph there, But the additional boost that we were requesting at the red line, which is above 1.5 bar pressure sensor, limit of the old pressure sensor, is allowing us to make another 20 to 25 brake horsepower where we were dipping off at about 8,000 RPM. The peak torque has increased as well. We're about 20 Newton meters, and we can bring in the boost a lot sooner, purely down to the fact that we can actually see the boost it's making and actually close that wastegate so that it builds a bit more boost lower down. This again is very relative to the 99 run, so we're just going to stick some super unleaded in there. We're actually going to drain the full tank and stick pure 109 run in there and continue our tuning, and this will give you a fair base as to what it was before to what it is now with the increased size of the map sensor. So again, we're going to try and put this in graphical terms for you. This is our pre-N20 map sensor. You can probably see boost itself is capped at 1.5 bar, and it won't go over that because the actual ECU can't see above that pressure based upon that old sensor. Even the timing, I mean, we've got a lot of timing pull because of the amount of fuel target we were requesting to maximize that boost pressure based upon the wastegate duty cycle. If you have a look, obviously now we're running just over 1.7 bar of boost. We've actually got more ignition timing, and that's purely down to the fact we're running a richer content. Now that we can monitor the boost above 1.5, we can actually enrich it so the airfire target is a lot richer, and we can add a bit more timing, hence why we've gained at the top end and at the lower end of the rev range. So what we're going to do now is put the race fuel in, increase the boost and the wastegate duty cycle. So on that run, we actually hit component protection, and component protection is basically the ECU seeing way too much cylinder pressures, boost, timing to create such a knock. It pulls back timing to the maximum it can, and then it basically chucks in loads of fuel to reduce the temperatures. Intake temperatures were sky high as well. We're talking about 60 degrees by the end of the run. In terms of graphical terms, you can probably see literally at 6,000 RPM the car went into component protection and basically chucked in loads of fuel, and we're talking really wet mixture. And N55s with a really wet mixture anyway create knock, and that's purely down to the characteristics of the cylinder pressures themselves. So what we're going to do is try and reduce the timing and boost after 6,000 RPM. Although we're running a bit more boost than we did on our last vlog, we're still seeing high cylinder pressures, and these cylinder pressures are just down to the fact that the N55 is an open deck system, so it does heat up a lot quicker than a closed deck system, and the cylinder can't handle as many pressures without the car seeing it. We can readjust the knock sensors, but at this moment in time I think this is about the safe limit at 6,000 RPM, hence why we don't increase the red line as we do on the S55. The S55 being a closed deck runs very similar pistons and rods, and we can kind of take it up to 7,800 RPM without any issues. But on this, with the amount of boost pressure, literally MBT's hit and there's nothing more we can do. So let's pull everything back a little, run it back on the dyno and see what we can achieve. So guys, final results today on the 3.5 bar map sensor. 628 brake horsepower, 860 Newton meters. If you have a look at the graph, peak power isn't so much change, but we brought in the power earlier to reduce the super knock at the top end, and we've gained around 80 newton meters of torque mid-range and about 25 to 30 brake horsepower from 4,000 RPM all the way to 6,000 RPM, and that in itself will make it a much faster vehicle. Again, it's on the standard low pressure fuel pump and all the mods previously discussed on the other parts of this vlog. So all in all, that is literally the limit of the N55, and with the 3.5 bar map sensor, we're not gaining so much at the peak, but we are gaining a lot more on the mid-range. So be interested to see what it does in the quarter mile, 100 to 200, etc. We aren't going to take the tuning any further than that. We found all the limitations for boost, cylinder pressures, EGTs, and we've collated all that information to build together a package for you guys out there. So don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, because on the next video we've got our brand new project car. That's right guys, 2019 BMW M2 competition. Probably familiar with this engine, the S55 twin turbo engine from the M3 and M4. It's going to be an interesting journey. Stage 1, stage 2 and stage 3 coming up. So I'll catch you in the next one. 3. If Luke Skywalker was alive today, that'd be his.